I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to have the minutes reflect that we held an executive session earlier tonight for personnel reasons regarding vacancies. I'd also like to acknowledge that today is Veterans Day, so we thank all our veterans for their service. We request that the audience respect the mandate to wear a mask. If we can get that cooperation, we will continue in-person meetings. If not, we'll move to Zoom. And for public comments, each person has 4 minutes for comments on the agenda items and 4 minutes at the end. I would like to announce that the nominations committee will be John Burke and Lori Bennett. And we'll move on to public comments on agenda items. Does anyone have a comment on agenda items?
Hi, my name is Corinne Hackling. I have 5 children in the school district, 1 10th grader, 1 8th grader, 1 6th grader, and 2 4th graders.
Can we have your name, please?
Corinne Hackling, the names of the children?
Your name?
Corinne Hackling.
Thank you.
My 10th grade son, Connor, the first week of school was supposedly a close contact on that Friday. He went to his father's house that weekend and went to school Monday to be told and taken to a room with like 30 other kids to call their parents to pick them up. As we were walking out, he told the nurse that he wore a mask the entire time. The thing is, 15 minutes with a mask with a positive case. I want to know if there was a positive case even, because my nephew is in 8th grade. The following week, on Monday, was supposedly a close contact on the school bus where they have to wear a mask also. He has told me he never sits close to kids on the bus. He has nobody in his seat with him, but he was a close contact, and he missed 10 days. He has an IEP. He has ADHD. We don't have internet, so he had 0 learning support for 10 days, played on the football team, was taken out of football for weeks because he couldn't get his grades caught up because they never gave them to him. And with the way that the system works, you have to have all the things put in. So his grades were too low to play after he came back, so he missed all games except for the last 3. So then I have my daughter and son their stepmother tested positive at home, and they were removed from school for 20 days. 2 they had to quarantine for hers and for theirs. Zero issues with their health at all the entire time. My kids don't get sick, ever. I want to know why my completely healthy children are being forced to not learn. My 2 4th graders, my son Aiden, was out of school all week last week because he coughed. He has allergies. The nurse wouldn't let him go to school all week because he coughed. Wasn't sick, was perfectly fine. And I want to know why my children are missing out on school. Please answer.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Mr. President, could you repeat what you said about the mask and about going back to Zoom? I didn't hear that because I couldn't hear you. Could you repeat that? In the beginning, you said something about masking and about going back to Zoom.
If we don't get cooperation, we will go back to Zoom.
If you can't get cooperation with what? Following the mandate, right?
Yes.
Okay. So for some reason, do you guys have the mandate on the school website? That's not a hard question, guys. Somebody answer that question. Is the masking mandate from the state on the website?
You're asking questions you know the answer to because you have the internet and look yourself.
No, but sometimes you can miss it.
This is comment, not question and answer.
Is it someplace on the website? Because if it's not, it should be there.
This is comment, not question and answer.
Okay, so let me tell you, the very masking mandate that you don't have posted on the school website that I can't find, that nobody can find, would actually allow people to read it and see that there's exceptions, just like the vice president told you of the board last week. There are exceptions for the mask. When you threaten us that we cannot be in here without a mask, and you're going to go back to Zoom where it's more restrictive and not as open, and we know that to be true, this is an open meeting. Zoom is an emergency meeting, and the Office of Open Records told you to go back to this type of meeting. That's a nice thing to have for people who can't make it, but this is the meeting we need to have so this can happen. This is how you get interaction. Okay, you don't have the mandate posted. The minutes don't reflect it at all. We read it to you last meeting. You all keep saying follow the law. The law gives exceptions. Holly told you, go back review it. She told you what the exceptions are. We're allowed to be here. When you have a discrimination, are you the attorney tonight, sir? Is he the attorney tonight?
What agenda item is this related to?
This is going to be the minutes.
What agenda items, George?
On the agenda items, minutes have to be approved, right?
That's historical, so what upcoming agenda items?
So this is, the minutes to be approved are on the agenda. You're using my time. Is my time being held for a second while I'm not doing this answer thing?
No, it's not being
What do you mean it's
paused.
not being held? Don't say no. She just held it because you guys are asking me questions. You're using my time up. My agenda item is before you approve the minutes are not reflective of what happened for some reason. So I don't know why we don't get it reflective. There was at least 3 readings of the mandate that tells you if wearing a face covering would either cause a medical condition or exacerbate one. So we don't know what it can cause. We have a bunch of reasons. There's an exception there, and it actually tells you that you can't remove us and all this. You're not following the very mandate you say you're following. It's right here. Don't shake your head no, it's right here. Did you read it?
George,
Yes.
I'll let you finish and then I'll...
Yeah, okay, very good. Are you the attorney tonight? Is he the attorney? Okay, so viewpoint discrimination is exactly what this is. When you're threatening those who don't have the same viewpoint of you with this mask, and you're not using the law that's written, the one that's been overturned by a judge, so right now, as we sit here today, the law of the land is the mask, and forcing our kids in the mask is unlawful and unconstitutional. Until there's a stay from the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania, the law of the land it's unconstitutional. And viewpoint discrimination and content discrimination is exactly what's happening when you guys try to silence us because we want to be in here using these exceptions that are in the law. The reason why we're in here today and we're not being removed by police is because police are law enforcement officers and we're following the law. You, on the other hand, are not. When you keep saying that, you're omitting stuff, that's unlawful. You're changing stuff, that's unlawful. So please, I always tip my hands. So make sure you make a note, viewpoint discrimination and content discrimination, because I don't want to discuss mask efficacy or critical race theory efficacy. I want you all to learn how to read policy and follow it. You know, that's all I want. It's all I've wanted. I've been very measured. Follow policy, follow the law, and that's what you guys have to do.
So I think it's important to note.
Are you talking? I can't hear you.
Your microphone's not on, John.
And if you're going to talk, I want to be able to respond to you.
That's not how it works.
that's
No, George,
But you're not going to address me and not allow me to address you back because
you had your comment
that's
period.
how it
Thank you,
works.
George, you're done.
This is the first warning, George. This is the first warning, and then we close the meeting and have a Zoom meeting tomorrow. So stop.
This is not, wait, hang on. This is,
The meeting, the mics aren't on.
let's follow.
Can't hear the microphone.
We're trying to
Can't hear you. The
follow,
microphone, please.
we're trying to follow the rules and keep it orderly and respectful. That's all we're asking. Mr. Burke, you have a comment?
I have a legal objection, and I want to be heard by the attorney. I have a legal objection, and I have a right to be heard my legal objection to a sunshine law to this meeting. Am I going to be heard by the attorney? Guys, you heard that, right?
It's not your opportunity to speak right now. You've had your opportunity. I believe a board member is ready to speak.
Mr. Burke, I think
Go ahead.
has a comment.
So I just think it's important to note that just because somebody in the crowd says that we're not following the law, that it doesn't mean that it's true. And so things get said that we don't follow the law. I respectfully disagree. And so people have a right to their opinion, but I also have a right to interpret and listen to my legal counsel. So that's all I wanted to say. I'm not entering into banter or debate about it. But I think it's also important that when somebody says that we are breaking the law, abusing children, or whatever that is, that I don't want to sit silent anymore and let other people run the show. So that's what I want to say.
We have another person.
So you're next.
As part of your school, my name is
Sir,
Jamie Walsh.
can we
and
have your name, please?
My name is Jamie Walsh,
Thank you.
and I'm here with the Parents for Freedom Advocacy Group. And I'm speaking on behalf of them. And in your own policy, section 806B, it states,
Sir, are you a resident of this district?
it states, I am here
Are you a
as
resident?
part of Parents
Are
for
you a
Freedom
resident?
Advocacy Group. I am a
Are you
representative.
a resident?
Our policy states that.
If you're not a resident, you're not allowed to speak a public comment.
We're on agenda items.
903, I am allowed to speak, representing the Citizens Advisory Gazette.
What agenda item?
So this is in follow-up to answer your question.
No,
No,
that's
no,
not how it
sir.
works.
Agenda items.
It's not how it works. Agenda items only.
Okay, I'll save it for the end.
My name is Russ Knight. I just want to clarify, are we going to be hearing about probable cases and how that's going to be explained tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, moving on. Item 4 is enrollments in your packet for your review. Item 5, approval of minutes.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bennett? Here. Mrs. Gregory? Yes. Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Cavola?
Yes.
Mr. Swilly? Mr. Whitener?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes. Item 6, superintendent's report.
I'm asking for approval of items 1 through 6 under the superintendent's report.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Gregory? Yes. Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. Cavola?
Yes.
Mr. Swilly? Yes. Mr. Whitener?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett? Yes. Mr. Farr?
Yes.
And I'm asking for a motion to approve item 7.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Perry? Yes. Dr. Cavola?
Yes.
Mr. Swilly? No. Mr. Whitener?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
No.
Mrs. Bennett? No. Mrs. Gregory? Yes. Mrs. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes.
Mr. Farr, if I could just say, we have 3 folks that are going to be leaving the district, and I would just like to thank them personally for their service. Special Ed Director Mary Beatty. I will say to people all the time, what I want in a special ed director is somebody that's going to push me, somebody that's going to challenge me. Mary is that person, and I have met no greater advocate for children ever, and I just want to thank her. Marie Vazorek is resigning as our instructional coach at the primary center. I've worked with Marie for the last 6 years. She's a beautiful person, and she is a great teacher, and I really admire her, and I'm sad to see her go. And Sue Williams is taking a sabbatical. She's not leaving us, but also Sue has done a great job, and she's currently doing our Fusion C3 at the primary center. So wish her luck in her continued studies, and I just wanted to go on record as saying that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Did you have anything else at this time?
I'm sorry.
Do you have anything else at this time?
No, not at this time.
Okay, thank you. Item 7, unfinished business. Looking for resolution to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call.
Dr. Cavola?
Yes.
Mr. Swilly?
Yes.
Mr. Whitener?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett? Yes. Mrs. Gregory? Yes. Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Farr?
Yes. Okay, items 8, under new business. Item 1, looking for resolution to approve appointing Joseph DeLuca as interim superintendent at $300 a day.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Swilling?
Yes.
Mr. Widener?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett? Yes. Mrs. Gregory? Yes. Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Dr. Favola?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Enthusiastically, yes.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Is Mr. DeLuca here today? Everybody's wearing masks. Welcome
was
to
in the back.
Tunkhannock School
Welcome.
District, Mr. DeLuca.
Welcome, Mr. DeLuca.
On the new business, item 2, resolution approving bus and van contracts.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Widener?
Yes.
Mr. Burke?
Yes.
Mrs. Bennett? Abstain. Mrs. Gregory? Yes. Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Dr. Favola?
Yes.
Mr. Swilling?
Yes.
Mrs. Arnold?
Yes.
Mr. Park?
Yes. Thank you.
Before we move on to the next item, I wanted to ask, we didn't have a committee report section that I saw. So we did have a committee meeting for people who weren't here, right? And I think we needed to schedule a committee meeting for extracurricular. Is
Right.
that
Right.
true?
Yeah, we need to schedule an extracurricular meeting, and I would suggest we do it next week. But Bill, I wasn't sure what your schedule was.
I could zoom in.
Okay.
I'm out of town.
Okay. So why don't we try to do that as early in the week as possible? I cannot do it Tuesday night after school.
How about Wednesday?
Wednesday looks good.
So that's the,
Lori?
Lori
I'm not good for Wednesday. I'm at the LIU Wednesday night.
Okay.
and Rob, you're still on it.
Yeah.
So Thursday?
We have a
school
board
board.
meeting Thursday
You
night.
can do it before.
We can do it before.
You tell me, how about,
I would suggest we do that whole meeting on Zoom if Bill's going to be on Zoom, because it'll be hard. It doesn't always work very well.
well,
Yeah, we can do that, but we just need to find a time and a date.
Right, but I'm saying it doesn't have to be a bookend to the board meeting,
Right.
because
how about Monday?
Monday works
Yeah.
for me, all right,
Lori,
but I don't know about...
Monday?
Good for Monday.
Rob, is Monday okay for you? Works for. Can we do it at 7 o'clock?
7 o'clock and on Zoom.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right. We'll set that up. Yes.
And for those that were not here for the building the ground meeting prior to this meeting tonight, John went over the items that we've done using the bond issue money, the roof projects, status of those, and the various items that are on our list to be looking at and proceeding with. And thank you for that, John. Okay, item 3 is contact tracing protocols.
So I just want to preface this that I had requested this for this meeting. More as it's informational. I don't know that we're not looking at necessarily changing or asking for a change at this time. It's more or less an understanding of how the contact tracing is being, like what the guidelines are that we're following.
Well, Chuck? All right. Yeah, the projector is, it says it's on.
Yeah, it's showing up here.
Here comes our Savior IT guy.
Yeah. Did it just go to sleep? Okay.
Is it China? No, it's not China. Floodlights.
There we go. It's coming. And it says contact tracing protocols. Yes, thank you. It's only a few slides. Thanks, Chuck. I know that Holly had asked me to go over the contact tracing protocols that we're using. We are following the CDC guidelines. We're following the Pennsylvania Department of Health contact tracing. So this is the decision tree that we have for identifying a COVID-19 case of close contacts in a K-12 indoor school setting. So this is the guidance that we've been given, that students and adults in an indoor classroom setting who are within 6 feet of the infected person starting 2 days prior to the symptom onset. So if I tested positive, we would go back to the first day that I showed symptoms, and then we would go 2 days before that. So that would be the date that we'd be working from. If the infected person is not showing symptoms, use the date that the test was collected. So was the exposure to a person with COVID-19 in an indoor setting? And we're just gonna go down the yes column, all right? Because in this case, there's a second tree for if it was outdoors. So are the infected person and the potential close contact both students? And if the answer is yes, which is the questions that most of you guys are having, were the infected students and potential close contacts both wearing masks consistently and correctly? And if the answer to that is yes, was the potential close contact less than 3 feet from the infected student for a cumulative total of 15 minutes or more over a 24-hour period? And if the answer was yes to that, then the person is a close contact. If it's no, then the person is not a close contact. So this is basically the chart that we use. This is available on the CDC website. Any of you can go and any of you can find it and you can study it. This is if in a non-classroom setting. So this is outside. Was the exposure in a non-classroom setting? They include spaces like the cafeteria, the library, gymnasium, athletic field, other outdoor space. And so if you go down the left side there, was the potential close contact less than 6 feet from the intended person for a cumulative total of 15 minutes or more over a 24-hour period, regardless of mask use? And if the answer is yes, the person's a close contact. If the answer is no, the person is not a close contact. So these are the charts we use.
So by that on the school bus, that whole 3 to 6 feet thing doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It's within 6 feet.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, so on the school bus, that's correct. So if you're identifying a probable case of COVID-19 without an antigen test, all right, if you have one or more definitive COVID symptoms and you're a close contact to a lab positive case, you're considered positive. Okay? Or you're considered one or more definitive. If you're a close contact, you're considered a probable. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. So if you are a close contact and you start developing symptoms and you have had contact with a COVID-19 case, if you show symptoms, then you're considered a probable. And these are the symptoms that we're given. There's a group A of symptoms, which requires 1. There's a group B of symptoms, which requires 2. So, I'm a close contact. I start with a fever and a headache. And I've had contact with somebody who has COVID-19. And I've identified I'm quarantining because I'm a close contact. I start developing those symptoms. I am considered probable.
Even if you're a close contact of a probable. Does that question make sense? Like,
Yes.
Phil is a probable case,
Yes.
and I'm a close contact of him and I have symptoms.
Yep.
Even if he didn't have a test
Yes.
that confirmed it.
Yes. So I know it's complicated. Again, this information is on the Department of Health website. It's on the CDC website. We're not making this up as we go. And I'm not in a position that I'm going to debate you whether it's right or wrong. I'm not a public health official. I know what I don't know. I am a commissioned officer of the state, and I will follow the rules that I am given. So I'm not here to debate it because I'm not a public health official.
Thank you. Okay.
Bill, before we adjourn, I have something that I just want on the record.
Okay.
This past election, we have had a new school board director elected who lives in Region 1, had signs in Region 1, lives in Region 1, but one in Region 2, where she had stated she lived. I just want it on the record that she lives in the wrong region, had signs in the wrong region, which was Region 1, and it needs to be on the record that it may have to be looked into by someone besides myself.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Any last public comments? Please state your name.
Jerry Jordan.
Thank you.
That was actually something that I wanted to question. I was going to ask what Region 2 covers, what districts or municipalities?
I don't have the map here.
Falls, Overfield, yeah.
So Eaton Township definitely is not a Region 2.
No, that's Region 1.
So I'm going to reiterate Lori's question. I'm a little confused if somebody lives in Eaton Township, how they can take a seat on Region 2. That was one of my questions. My other comment is thank you to any of the veterans that are here. And lastly, I know there's a big debate about Zoom, but I've been in your Zoom meetings and there's close to 200 people in them, and I don't see 200 people here. I just wanted to point that out.
Thank you.
I apologize for jumping up here earlier out of turn. I just wanted to make a comment to you, sir. You got a little upset about people saying that there's child abuse going on and so forth, and believe me, if someone was accusing me of that, I'd want to know why. And the reason why is because in your handbook in section 806B1, under the heading child abuse, number 8-5 says interfering with the breathing of a child is considered child abuse. That's why people are saying you're abusing children. So if you want to know where that's coming from, that's where it's coming from. And I also just wanted to talk quickly.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Are you from Tunkhannock School District? I
No.
just want it for the record.
No, sir.
To be honest with you, I mean, this is our community. So what
Policy, 903.
John Audi is our solicitor.
I'd like to see the policy. I don't have it, 903.
It says if they represent a community organization within Tunkhannock School District, but I have not yet seen any kind of official organization that indicates that it represents this school district. I keep seeing this name of like the Concerned Citizens thing, but there's nobody officially affiliated with it, with the exception of like one or two people that are here and can speak for themselves.
Parents for Freedom is 23 different school districts throughout the area, and it's over 1,600 members.
And I don't know that, and I don't know that you're representative of it. And I'm going to make a decision that you're not going to be allowed to speak. You're not a resident here. Thank you.
Thank you. Next person.
Okay?
Guys, you are the elected officials. He is not to be making decisions for you guys. You have a policy book. You guys have a bad habit of literally thinking you're carte blanche with your policy. If you guys can't read and follow your own policies, we're never going to be able to communicate. Right now, you guys are the adversarial ones. You have him telling me I can't legally object to something earlier. The fact of the matter, I don't have to wait for a time to speak. If you guys are about to do something illegal, I have a right to legally object, and it needs to be answered. When you don't do that, that's a viewpoint and content discrimination. You guys need to learn this yourself. Every time you say, hey, what do you think? That means you're not studying, you're not doing your research. You need to. Things are going to get more complicated. This was a 6-page masking order. with only 2 pages of things to do. And you all aren't getting it right. Right now, you guys want me to follow the masking order, right? Is that right? Everybody wants me to follow the masking order? I'm following it. But yet you're going to try to shut us down to Zoom, which is restrictive because there's all kinds of controls in place. This is harder. For him not to let a representative speak because he says so, that's tyranny. Guys, this isn't going to fly. I'm telling you, this is all recorded, like you said. Thank God this is recorded. Now, John, you talk about you guys can change policies, you said last meeting, as long as you tell us about it at the beginning of the meeting. That's not how it works. I want that policy. Mr. Attorney, is it Oddie, John Oddie? Could you please tell me what policy they're using where they got carte blanche to change the policy before a meeting so long as they tell us? I put a FOIA request in for it, and I'll withdraw it if you can tell me now. Other than that, it's going to cost the school district money for you guys to find out. You don't have carte blanche to change policy. Dive in deeper. I always expose my hand before I do it. Viewpoint discrimination, content discrimination, you're doing it. When you say we're going to follow the law, but you're not even following the law that you have, you don't even have the masking mandate on the website. Why don't you guys have the masking mandate on the website that you're asking citizens and parents to follow? At this point, this far in the game, is anybody embarrassed by that? You don't have the masking mandate so people can read it because you don't want them to read it, because if they read it, then your made up laws and your omissions will be called out by more people. So I don't know what to do. It's been read to you 2 or 3 times every meeting. 903 allows for representatives to speak on behalf of organizations inside of the district. So he's incorrect. So he just violated that right. And you guys don't think you have done it. Holly Arnold, last meeting, omitted on video that you guys even put the masking order illegally in place, and I told your attorney you were doing it illegally. She shuts my mic off. I go up there under superintendent's witness and the other school board members telling him, why are you letting them do this? This is illegal. You almost did the substitute teacher raise early and the masking was the same way. It wasn't on the agenda to be voted. You shouldn't have voted on it. Not only did you vote on it, but you added something to it, acting like a legislative branch. You guys were unlawful then. Holly told us on video, it's at the 45-minute mark, you can see it. You guys made, this masking mandate isn't even legally in place by you. You'd have to do a do-over. You'd have to do a do-over tonight if you want us to follow your mandate tomorrow. Or people can go into school, not wear a mask, and have legal litigation against you because you didn't even put it in place properly. And I warned you. I warned the attorney. And he would not hear me. 2 days later, he goes to Wyalusing and saves them from making that error. Didn't save you guys for some reason.
George, you have 30 seconds.
And still, and to this day, she even told you, and you still aren't going to do a redo. You either got to do a redo or the masking mandate doesn't exist just by your own policies because you didn't properly bring it on. Do you understand that, attorney? Are you taking notes at least? Because these people are literally making errors and you're letting them. What are they paying you for?
Heather, I would like to, or Phil, I'd like to read from 903 at George's request about what allows the presiding officer to make a change, if I may.
Go ahead.
Item in policy 903, the presiding officer may, 1, interrupt or terminate a participant's statement when the statement is too lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. 2, request any individual to leave the meeting when that person does not observe reasonable decorum. 3, request the assistance of law enforcement officers to remove a disorderly person when his or her conduct interferes with the orderly progress of a meeting. 4, call a recess or adjourn to another time when the lack of public decorum interferes with the orderly conduct of the meeting. And number 5, waive these rules, meaning 903, with the approval of the board. Doesn't have to be a vote, doesn't say it has to be a majority counts, but Phil or the presiding officer, whoever it is at the time, may waive these rules with the approval of the board. So that is what I was referencing. That is what was being referenced in that meeting.
You have to go forward, you have to go back.
No, that was what I was referencing. So, next comment.
George, you done? Ma'am, please give us your name.
Thank you, Mr. President. Sheila Donnelly. I have a few questions.
First, is the attorney part of the school board? No, okay. So as far as I understand, the hierarchy, our parents and community really are higher on that hierarchy. We should be the ones making these types of judgments. So please consult us. We are the ones who've come here. We all care about our children. We all care about our community. Please make us part of these decisions. Thank you. The other thing is, as far as this meeting, could we please think about having it a dual meeting with Zoom and in person? Because there, as someone stated, there's a lot of people who would like to join us on Zoom for whatever reason. They'd rather, join us at home, especially during the winter. So that's my suggestion. As far as mission statements, I was looking at mission statements. Where can I find, I think the school mission statement is on the TASD.net website. Is there a school board mission statement? And is there a graduate profile mission statement somewhere? And if there isn't, could there be one? And could I have that answered at some point, maybe at the next meeting? Is there someone I can email? Is there someone I can address? Or could I get that answered tonight?
Why don't you email me?
Thank you.
And I will do that research.
Thank you.
And can you be a little more specific with me about what you're looking at for a graduate profile?
Sure.
That's all I ask.
Okay, and then if I have a little bit more time, I wanted to read what this says because I feel like I'm living in Alice in Wonderland a little bit. With this decision from yesterday, Pennsylvania, an order by Pennsylvania's acting health secretary requires masks inside K through 12 schools and child care facilities was thrown out Wednesday by a state court that said she lacked the authority. The Wolf administration put the decision on hold by filing an immediate appeal. Okay, so this is just a very confusing, mucky thing that's going on right now. Let me read the other part also. So I don't know where this leaves us, but I think we aren't done. I think we have awoken a sleeping giant. I certainly feel that way. Today's ruling validates what we have said all along. Mask decisions should be made by parents and school boards, not unelected bureaucrats. The Republican leader said a blanket mandate does not address the unique needs and circumstances of individual communities. And I feel exactly that same way. Thank you.
This is on another note.
You still don't live here. You're still not a resident of the school district.
I'm
That was
representative.
already
The
determined.
ruling
That's
stands.
not-
You're not allowed to speak on behalf of anyone. You're not a resident. I'm going to ask you to sit down, please. Thank you.
Stop.
No.
I do live here, and
Okay.
he does actually represent me, and I live here.
Thank you.
You're not an
I'm a
organization.
part of that group.
You're
I
here.
am.
You're
You're here.
not-
That you can speak for yourself then, because you're here.
You're not, there's not a proven organization.
Can you just clarify what a proven organization? How do you clarify that? How does one become a proven
Please provide
organization?
documentation.
Could you just tell me that?
Please provide documentation.
I'd like to see some documentation of
What
such
documentation of like
organization.
what?
You're just kidding, right? You guys are making a narrative.
Any documentation.
Any
Anything.
documentation?
Okay, she's a member of the citizen.
I'm not going to debate this.
Well,
If you want to have...
I'm not debating. I'm
if
just
you wanna
clearly
speak,
asking what
your
is the
time gonna start
documentation?
now.
What's the documentation that's needed? I'll wait for an answer if you could stop my time.
Well, you got your 4 minutes. It's still going.
Just stop my time. What's the documentation that you need? So that clearly
So this organization exists supposedly and has sent letters
It's
saying
not
that
supposedly.
that they want the board to resign, But nobody is owning that. So you're owning that? You're saying you're part of the group that wants all the school board members to resign?
There are many parents in this school district that are part of that group, yes, I
That
am
are
telling you
saying,
that.
then you're standing up for that. Then why aren't you
Yes.
signing this letter? Because we can't
Have
get
you
anything
asked
from anybody.
Have you asked the school? Have you done a survey to say, hey, are any parents involved in this? Because I bet you haven't, because I know I've not been asked, and I am a member of the group, and there are other parents here tonight that are members of the group.
Then those parents who live in this district can speak on behalf of themselves because they're present in the room.
He is an advocate speaking on behalf of us.
Your
You're
time is
speaking
up.
for us.
I am allowed
Time is up.
Because you're making stuff up as you go.
Yeah.
The vote-
So just to, okay, so let's just clarify. For next school board meeting, tell me what documentation you would like to see. If it's not allowed tonight, then tell me what you need.
And it better come from a policy.
Yes, just tell me.
You're out of order.
That's a legitimate question. What is needed? I'm asking a question, what's needed?
Solicitor advising is fair.
Can anybody tell
Right.
me what's needed?
So get us something that says that this is an actual group. Do you have a board? Do you have meetings? Do you have organization? Do you have
Are you ready
anything?
to
We do have
What is
meetings.
to
Are you
stop
ready
for
to the
anybody
state?
from just walking in and saying, I have a committee, I have a board? No, I'm sure I'm just making it
So
up
can
for
you
it.
tell me where?
Motion to adjourn.
I'm asking, where can I find the documentation?
Motion to adjourn.
We're adjourned.
Are we going to, we don't have to reconvene.